It's here. It is. Carnation. Good to see you, John. No baseball cap though.
I didn't think you would probably need it as well.
I donated my carnation to a needy doesn't really suit me though, does it?
I think you actually look like, I think Bud Flanagan, if you don't mind me saying. I think underneath the arches,
It's Bud Flanagan.
or the Lambeth Walk would be appropriate.
Yeah, it's doing
the Lambeth.
Yes.
That's great.
Of course.
I'll do that after a few beers. Now, John knows directions to the pub, don't you? Get off at Charing Cross.
Is this going on all day?
Yeah. Be like Bill Oddie, he's completely relaxed with you.
Yep.
Oh, you mean he's not waving?
There it is.
Over there.
Sounds a bit kind of roof on, is it? So the Americans didn't want to get wet.
I think that's some addition. Nose mark on the screen.
Occupational hazards or something like that.
On board going, hello! That would have been silly, wouldn't it? But for this commemorative D-Day tour, we painted this duck the colour it would have been as it arrived on those beaches in Normandy. More about this craft in just a minute, because ahead of you on the right, the cream and green building is MI6, the external secret service, where James Bond shot out and is sitting in this formation is absolutely fine. But for the river, we're going to be a little lopsided, so can I ask perhaps a couple of people to swap sides, just a couple, and then that's fine. Is that all right? Thank you very much. Are you off, Tony? Short and sweet.
Oh, right. Yeah, just need a bit of reset. Can you help out? Yeah. Oh, right. Film crew's doing well. What's the new computer? What's up? Is that right? Yeah.
The tide is quite low, so it will be a little bumpy as we enter the Thames. That's the all clear. Are you ready? Ready. Now, here we go.
You're looking a bit nervous. We're having a film crew, isn't it?
Yeah. Could be using the...
Yeah.
That's it, we're on the river. Round of applause for Rob.
Oh,
It's nice water comes. I'm going to try this with a TCB.
Here we are on the River Thames. The Romans settled here 2,000 years ago and called the river the Thamesis, is where we get the name Thames from. It's a brackish river, part salt water, part fresh water, and rises twice a day between 18 and 26 feet. Now if you look to your right, you can see the lion heads here, purely for decoration. But the saying goes, if the lions from the Thames drink, beware. London is about to flood. So to avoid this, the flood barrier is built at Woolwich, about 10 miles downstream. It's raised on average twice a month. It was actually raised yesterday, wasn't it, Rob? Yeah. Between 9 and 12 yesterday, yes, because of the high tide. Tide's still going out at the moment. Imagine yourself in the reign of Elizabeth I. The river during the winter months would actually freeze over. Entire hogs would be roasted on the Thames. Theatrical productions would be played out on the ice. Now the reason these frost fairs no longer occur is mainly down to this fact that since the Romans arrived, we've actually reclaimed 2/3 of the River Thames. So what you see on the left, the millbank, and on the right, the Albert Embankment, are actually Victorian constructions. So the river is much narrower and the flow much faster than it used to be. Station on the right, there's the fire barge. The red trim of Lambeth Bridge, painted red, tell us we're on the House of Lords side of Parliament. It corresponds to the red upholstery of the higher chamber. Back at the Albert Embankment, you might be able to see some people walking up and down here. They're in the London Borough of Lambeth, so they're doing Oi! Very much a Victorian institution. Londoners after church on a Sunday take their constitutional walk up and down the embankment. The song made famous in the musical Me and My Girl. Here's a curiosity on the Thames on the right, London's floating petrol station. Anyone want a bag of charcoal? Well, the bridge ahead of you is Westminster Bridge, the second bridge built across the river. And we had to wait 1,750 years for bridge number 2. Before that, you had to go all the way down to London Bridge or cross via a ferry, which was on about this spot. Earth has not anything to show more fair. Dull would he be of soul who could pass by a sight so touching in its majesty. This city now doth like a garment wear the beauty of the morning silent bare. Ships, towers, domes, theatres and temples lie open unto fields and to the sky, all bright and glittering in the smokeless air. Never did sun more beautifully steep in its first splendour valley, rock or hill. Ne'er saw I and never felt a calm so deep. The river glided at its own sweet will. Dear God, these very houses seem asleep, and all that mighty heart is lying still. Well, that poem was written there by William Wordsworth upon Westminster Bridge. Now, Rob is demonstrating something very interesting, I think. We're running on no power whatsoever, and look how quickly we're still heading out to sea. It's a 4-knot tide on the River Thames. And you'll be seeing as well when we head back up to the slipway, the difference it makes going against the tide. Now, just behind me here, I think you'll agree, a very spectacular building, the Houses of Parliament, but it is relatively modern by our standards, although there's been a palace on that site for 1,000 years. It did burn down in a fire in 1834. A competition was held for its replacement, and this the winning design by two people, Charles Barry and Augustus Pugin. And the man that ran the competition was somebody called Benjamin Hall, his nickname Big Ben, and they named the bell after him. Well, the green awnings, the restaurants in the House of Commons, and the red awnings, the restaurants in the House of Lords. If you look carefully underneath the first floor windows, you'll be able to make out the Latin inscription. It's the Lord's Prayer. It's there to ward off evil spirits. Although it doesn't stop 659 of them entering Parliament every day. Stories about the builder to D-Day that I find very fascinating. A gentleman called Juan Pujol, a Spanish gentleman, knocked on the door of MI5 and said, "Can I be a spy, please?" They showed him the door. It's a then Rampugel went to the Germans with some information that he actually copied out of the library, which was just down on the road. And he said, can I be a spy for you? Well, all the information checked out. And they said, great, yes, you can be our spy in England. So Rampugel went back to MI5 and said, do you know, I'm a spy for the Germans, can I be a spy for you now? And they said, oh yes, please. And Rampugel was actually instrumental in confusing the Germans. He made them think that the invasion was going to take place at Calais. Not only that, after the D-Day landings on the 6th of June, he still convinced the Germans that the main invasion force was going to take place and crossing over to Calais with the help of many inflatable tanks that were stationed in various barracks around the country. So again, that information checked out. But you'll find his story at the wonderful D-Day exhibition at the Imperial War Museum. One of the stories I find very interesting. So MI5 asked people for their holiday snaps off the Normandy coastline. You know, they weren't interested in what people were actually getting up to on their holidays. They needed to map out the territory. And then special undercover missions would take place. But again, one of them that I find most interesting took place on New Year's Eve, just before the D-Day landings, where soldiers would actually go over and canoe to the beaches on Normandy and take sand samples to check that the armoured vehicles can actually land properly and drive up on the beach. What an amazing operation to build up to D-Day. Through the trees, ahead of you on the right, a grey building is the Tate Britain, a quite brilliant gallery of British artists' work from 1500 to the present day. The work of Sir Joshua Reynolds, of Turner, David Hockney, Francis Bacon. But it hides a very gruesome secret. It was here the Millbank Penitentiary monster, a prison that would hold people before transportation to Australia. Prison ships would come right up to this spot, written on the side in huge letters, P-O-M, POM. It's thought this is where the nickname originated, standing for Prisoners of Millbank. Talking of prisoners, living in this block of flats coming up on the left, the top 2 floors, that's the home of Jeffrey Archer. So Rob has just engaged the 6-wheel drive, which means we're coming into our landing. So landing positions, everyone. We're back, a round of applause for Rob.
Get a splash.
The roof on, we actually put this floor in and the seats because as a soldier in the Second World War you wouldn't be in such luxurious conditions. Have done collectively along 3.5 tons of equipment. I've seen some pictures of 2 ducks tied together taking an aeroplane onto those beaches. I would have flown it in myself, but amazing to think that on that day alone, the 6th of June 1944, 156,000 troops were landed on 5 beaches on a 50-mile stretch of the Cherbourg Peninsula, the largest armada ever assembled. So originally this duck would have had a petrol engine. Well, we can't carry passengers with a petrol engine, so this is a Perkins diesel. It would have originally had a stick shift system, a gear stick. Well, this has an automatic transmission, but no power steering. So you should see the size of Tony's muscles. If you're looking for ways of avoiding the congestion charge in London, my advice is to buy an amphibious vehicle because we don't pay it. And you can purchase your duck on eBay for around £30,000. But if you want one like this, it'll be nearly 40,000. In London, where Winston Churchill masterminded operations during the Second World War. You'll see the bed he slept in, and where he'd be greeted with news. If it was good news, he'd leap up and down on his bed. If it was bad news, he would pull the covers over his head, tell the person to go away. Now, so much of today is talking about military precision 60 years ago. The only bit of this tour that has military precision is the time you need to be back. Because when Ken Livingstone doesn't like us stopping outside Her Majesty's Treasury. So there is a very small window of opportunity, let us call it this. So let us synchronise our watches. It says on my guide, do we corroborate this, that We're due to depart the Cabinet War Rooms at 1:10, is that right? 1:10 it is then. Now, there has been in the past a little confusion, so could I ask you to actually be where we drop you off, at the bus stop, for 1:10 at the latest, if you could be there, and then we can carry on our journey up to HMS Belfast. Incidentally, the statue of the General there on the right, Oliver Cromwell, the man who cancelled Christmas. I rest my case. Behind it, Westminster Hall, where Winston Churchill lay in state. Another Winston Churchill connection is St Margaret's Church on the left, where he got married in 1908 to his darling Clementine. On the left, Westminster Abbey, the crowning place and burial point of most of our kings and queens of England for nearly 1,000 years. And the white building ahead of us is Her Majesty's Treasury. Underneath it, those Cabinet War Rooms. And it's very easy to get to the Cabinet War Rooms. When we drop you off, you walk ahead of you, take the first left, and the entrance is actually on the far side of the building, but you can't miss it. It's the door with the sandbags outside. So as I say, when we drop you off here, walk ahead of you, turn left, and it's at the other end of the building. And once again, do please be here at 1:10. Enjoy your visit to the Cabinet War Rooms, and just watch your step on the slippery stairs as you leave.
Latest plane. The driver ran to speak to him.
(2:05) on January the 30th, 1649, Charles I was executed, so that's why that black mark is there. Hello! So the Household Cavalry mount a guard here every day between 10 and 4, and they have a daily change of the guard. Weekdays at 11, and on Sundays they do it at 10 o'clock. So the guards will be on duty here for... Yeah, they say, well, I'm really pleased. It's beautiful, isn't it? Yeah. During the bombardment that took place an hour before D-Day, one of 1,200 ships that are actually involved in it.
Oh, they stopped it.
was terrified. When I hit something, I thought it was a sample. When it takes some time.